my hats are off to these guys. I know that's a kind of a corny cliche, but they have worked so hard, and they have done such an excellent job in school, and to have everything going on in their life and the wins and the preparation, and to turn right back around and prepare like they did in a short period of time, and to be as locked in as they were, and to take a team where they really wanted to understand what they wanted to do, what they did, their calls, things of that nature. Our guys were completely locked in. They played with a relentless spirit. Their energy was tremendous. They were active. The communication was excellent. We wanted to play a 40-minute game, especially on the defensive end, and I think these guys did it. And they came back in the second half, and although the team scored more points, obviously, than they did in the first, our guys continued to play at a really high level. So proud of how they're playing, and proud of how they're working. They're maturing. I thought our coaching staff, especially Tim Buckley, who was the lead on this, did a fantastic job in a short period of time of getting them ready, making sure that we didn't inundate them with information, but at the same time that they absorbed enough to know what they had to do. And we felt like we were playing a very athletic team, a team that was excellent on the glass. They're kind of trying to find their way a little bit. I've known Kevin for a long time. I think he's an excellent coach. He worked for my old coach, Ralph Willard, before, and Kevin's taken from the people that he's worked for, and he's got his own style, and he'll get that team moving. But as I said to him after the game, our guys were on it. I mean, they were ready to play, excited to play, and wanted to join some elite company. There's no way around that. When there's only a few teams that in this illustrious history of this program that have started 11-0, they wanted to join that, and I'm proud of them. Second half we did different things. So it's a long game. We weren't just going to go back and sit in half court, man to man, or sit in zone, because that's when you get complacent. So we wanted them to be aggressive. We wanted to be in different spots. We did a lot of different things in the second half, but they were all things that we do, all things that we have.
Were you worried at all up 37 and a half that they might not have the focus?
Sure, absolutely. Just like I was far more concerned about this game than I was Notre Dame after Monday, in the sense of being locked in. When you're concerned about a team that is coming off a great win like Kentucky and has got the finals. After Monday's practice, I had no doubt they'd be ready to play Notre Dame. But this was the one that it was concerning maybe. But they locked in. I mean, they erased those coaching fears that you have, and maybe that's only natural. But they erased those right away. And our coaching staff and the players combined did a great job of being ready to attack today. I have to think about that. We'll have to watch the film on that. So we just wanted to mix it up. We wanted to mix our pressures up and play a couple of different zones. But those are all things that we have in. It's not like we didn't put anything in extra for the game other than some offensive sets. And those are things that we have. And it was a great opportunity to work against them and make some adjustments on the fly. But so I'll just see what the film looks like afterwards. But in the second half, I just wanted to make sure our communication was still high, and I thought it was.
What did you think of Jordy's left-handed three?
It was pretty impressive. I don't. The coaches, the guys not shocked were the coaches and the teammates. They see him do that a lot because, especially when he comes out and warms up and when he's just shooting after practice or before practice. But he's very gifted with both hands, and I don't think he'd have taken it that way if he didn't feel he could make it. So it's a heck of a shot. It was excellent. It was excellent. We really wanted to move the ball. We really wanted to get it reversed and drive out of the corners, and we wanted to do that more against Notre Dame. But they did a great job of jamming up the lane on us a little bit. So our reversal wasn't as good. That's something we've been spending a lot of time on in 3-on-0, 4-on-0, and 5-on-0. And we haven't scrimmaged as much lately, but we've spent a lot of time trying to build our offense in the sense of that kind of ball movement, and they carried that over. So to have that kind of number, the most assists we've had in our time here, that was very impressive. That's not, especially when you drive the ball as much as we're trying to, that's not common to have numbers like that. But these guys did a great job of making the next pass. I mean, constantly all night long. That'll be fun to watch on film.
But you guys only allowed 10 points in the final 6
Well, pretty much everything, because our guys were so locked into each other. They were locked into communication. The deflections were up. The transition defense was good. They weren't giving up the dribble. They were challenging shots. For the most part, we were limiting them to one shot. We got out on the break, and our digs were good off the ball to go into the post. We didn't have any breakdowns.
Without watching the tape, is there anything negative at all this program?
I'd have to. Yeah, I'm sure I'll find something, but I mean, it's just. I don't look at it as negative as much as correctable points. You know, there's always things that you can correct and be better at, and we'll see that. But we won't spend a ton of time on this. We'll spend time making sure that we continue to build on what we're trying to do, get ready for the next game, and then these guys can get a little break. But our job as coaches and their job as members of this team is not to take a breath right now. You know, not to exhale. Just that comes after the game Thursday night, and that's hard to do. But that's what we're here to do. We're here to drive them and challenge them, and they're responding, and the way they're unified is really, really strong, and there's a lot of room for growth. So that's what we'll be focused on as much as anything over the next couple of days.
Coach, your bench is 15 of 20, 47 points.
15 of 20?
15.
That's impressive. I didn't even know that. That's impressive. So I don't know if I've ever been around a team that was 15 of 20 off the bench. I knew we had 47 points, but again, guys were locked into coming in and playing well. There were a couple of times maybe where we didn't make the right decisions when we came in, but there was never a time where we didn't have the right effort. And so when the ball continues to move like it did, good things can happen.
The running development, you played 14 minutes at 9.5 assists. How much has he developed since the start?
Well, he's developed a lot, and I wish I'd have played him last weekend against Kentucky because, especially in the first half, it would have given us an opportunity to give some guys some blows. He's got the strongest legs on the team. You could see by that attempted move he had down the lane at the end. He sees the court. He's explosive with the ball, and his development is crucial as we move forward. There's no doubt about it. And we've been spending more time last night and even today with some of the guys that aren't playing as much because the biggest concern right now for the short term and for the long term is making sure that we have consistent depth. And tonight was a good step in that direction. But we all know that those challenges are going to continue to go up. So it's very, very important that we have that kind of consistency. And like I say to them, if we're going to coach you, if we're going to work with you, then we believe you can help us win. So there's no such thing as just getting by and getting through it. We want to see everybody improve, and I think Remy is really doing that. I was happy for Austin tonight because he hasn't been getting the minutes that he's been working towards. And some of it's been the pace of the game that we've been in. Some of it's been a bit of a shorter bench. But you're always a step away from having to play crucial minutes, and this was good experience for both of those guys.
Is this the most locked in you've seen your team since you came here?
It's a process. It's a process. Since we've come to Indiana, this is the most top to bottom mature group. But I mean, they're growing into that. You got to remember, you weren't here, but these guys did not walk into anybody that was leading the way for them. I mean, they had to learn it on their own, and they had to go through some incredibly hard periods of time on their own, and that's where the former players came in. I mean, and coming back in here and being in the locker room and talking to guys and coming to a practice and writing a letter. I mean, those things were just so invaluable. And now it's almost like they've grown up. Our kids have grown up with those former players. So they've learned all these hard lessons. They're trying to show that leadership. But at the same time, it was unlike anything I'd ever been a part of, and without the former players. And certainly without the passion of the fans, with the people sticking behind them in the games. But with the former players coming and bringing knowledge to them and encouragement and guidance, huge. So with where they sit right now, yeah. But you don't ever get to a point where you feel like you've reached some destination of maturity or buy-in or preparation level. You just keep building it, you know. And we keep talking to them all the time about raising their standards. That's what they're doing.
Shot at reaching season high wins at the time at IU with the Big Ten. How much would it mean to the seniors, especially that
I don't know. I don't know if anybody's really thinking a lot about that. Maybe. I mean, but it's good. But I think these guys have been so locked into the present, you know, of what the practice is, and you know, we've had so few practices that I would say, boy, we need to do that over again. And that's when you know you've got a mature team, and we're not pushing guys to play harder, compete better. They're doing a good job of that. So nobody's talking about last year and focused on that. When you get a chance to compare yourself to something that's been a part of the past here, with getting to 11-0, now that's another story. That's a big deal. That's a real big deal, and that was a big deal to them. But again, it's not like we look and say, well, these 4 teams won 16 games by this or won 13 games by that. We totally stay in the moment, and we haven't spent a lot of time talking about last year or the year before.
What was the board collection number like tonight?
57, so good. 30 at half, 27 second half. That's very good. They were good. They were good. He's been.
How good is it to
He's had some injuries. Hold on 1 second. He's had some injuries that have impeded his progress a little bit, but his attitude stayed great. We're asking him to do a lot of extra things now that we have that kind of time. You know, keeping him on the uptick, and I don't look at him any differently than when I say 7 starters. He's definitely a guy I look at like that.
How good is it to see Corey Barnett hit that three?
That was great. There again, that's the excitement level of the bench. He is so well loved, and going into the day, he had the highest GPA on the team so far for the semester, and we've got other grades coming in, and so he'll have some competition for that. But he's done a fantastic job here. He really has. He's got a great future as a coach, you know, and there's no question about that. He works very hard. He's actually he's had a pretty good last couple of weeks of practice. So I was happy that he took the shot, and because there's been times when he gets in the game where he passes those shots up, but everybody, it was bedlam over there when he hit it. That was as excited as our bench was. That says everything you need to know about Corey Barnett.
Anything else?
What's your comment on the 11-0 start, the best start since the end of the season?
I think we have. I mean, we're not trying to compare ourselves to any other teams. That would be foolish because we're not at those levels. But I mean, when you can get in that breath of doing something that great programs here did, now that's another story. So it's only as good as when we start practice for Maryland, Baltimore County in the next film session. So, but it's you put things out in front of your team when there's an opportunity to get something like that they'll be known on, and I think that's important. But we don't over dramatize it and we don't overdo it. But it's a big deal tonight.